So there's one question that drives teens nuts, and that's, what do you want to do when you grow up? Most teens hate that question, and it's not because they don't care. It's just a lot of pressure. And honestly, most of them really don't know yet. I know I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do at that age. I realized with my own kids that that question doesn't help very much. What works better is just starting real conversations, ones that help them think about what kind of work or environment might actually fit them. As parents, it isn't our job to try to choose their path. It's just to give a little guidance and ask the right questions that get them thinking in a new way. So let me show you what that looks like in our house. One of my sons recently told me flat out that he has no idea what he wants to do, but he does know that he does not want to sit at a computer in an office all day. He said it would make him miserable. I actually had him do some computer work for our small business last year as a way to earn some extra spending money. And after about a month, he said, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't stand doing this kind of work. So he went and got a part-time job working on a farm and orchard and ended up loving it. He told us he'd rather be broke than sit at a computer all day. And you know what? Knowing that as a teenager is pure gold because he figured out early what he doesn't want to do. So here's what we did to help him figure out some paths that might be options for him after high school. I asked him to make 2 short lists. One list of things he'd absolutely dread doing every single day, things that would make him just, miserable at work. And another list of things that he could definitely see himself doing every day, the kind of work that would actually feel enjoyable. Once you've got that list of things that your teen likes and doesn't like, the next step is just talking it through together. These don't need to feel like a quiz. Think of it more like sitting around the kitchen table and saying, all right, let's figure out what kind of work actually fits you. So here's some questions that helped us the most. Number 1, would you rather work inside most of the time or be out and about during the day? Number 2, do you like being around people all day or would you rather work more on your own? Number 3, do you enjoy moving around or are you fine sitting for long stretches? And number 4, do you get more excited about making or fixing things or about helping and teaching people? Number 5 was, do you like a job that's the same thing every day or one where there's a little bit more variety? And the last question was, are you the type who likes hands-on work or would you rather use your mind to solve problems? All of this info is gold when it comes to picking a career. Once we had all of that info, I dropped them into AI using a simple prompt that I wrote, and it gave us 2 results. First, a list of jobs and degrees that would be a great fit for him, and then a list of jobs that probably wouldn't be a good match. And for each job, I had the AI explain why, why that career path would be a good fit or why it wouldn't be a good fit. It was a really great exercise, and it gave him a ton of ideas that he'd never even thought of before. He could immediately see yeah, that definitely sounds like something I enjoy, or nope, that sounds awful. I'll share those same exact AI prompts for free if you want to use them with your own teen. There's a link in the description below where you can download them, or you can just click the QR code on your screen if watching from a TV. The link will also add you to my free weekly email where I share tips and ideas like this to help parents and teens plan their future. But if you just want the prompts and don't want to stick around for the emails, that's fine too. You can unsubscribe at any time. All right, so the goal isn't to land on the perfect major or path right away. It's simply to learn more about how your teen likes to work and what environments make them light up. Once you know that, it's a lot easier to spot the paths that fit versus the ones that clearly don't. Once your teen starts figuring out what kind of work sounds good to them, or at least what doesn't, the next step is to just get out there and try things. We always tell our kids, you're not supposed to have all of this figured out yet. The goal freshman year isn't to commit to something for life. It's to test a few things and see what feels right. So if they're in college, that might mean signing up for a few different intro classes just to see what grabs their attention. Maybe it's a psychology class or a design class or something to do with education or tech. Sitting in those classes, meeting people in those programs, sometimes that's what sparks an idea. And if they're still in high school or taking a gap year, it can be as simple as shadowing someone for a day, volunteering somewhere new, or working a part-time job in a field that they might like. The goal is just to get them around different types of people and different environments. Because when you see a job up close, you realize pretty quickly whether it's something you'd actually want to do all day or not. Back when my wife was in college, she majored in psychology because she loved all the classes. She just found them super interesting and thought she wanted to be a child psychologist. But back then, her school didn't have students do internships until senior year of college. So after 3 years of classes, she finally got to see what the job looked like through an internship and realized it wasn't how she wanted to spend her day to day. She didn't know that the job was 40% admin work and only 60% working with children and their families. So she ended up graduating with a degree in a field that she didn't want to work in, and then pivoted and went back for a master's in elementary education. So she loves teaching now, but it took her 6 years instead of 4 and a lot more tuition to get there. That's why we always tell our kids to try things early, shadow someone, volunteer, even just get on YouTube and type day in the life of, whatever field you're interested in pursuing. Because you can learn so much about what a job really looks like before spending a ton of money on the wrong degree. And the truth is, even if they try something and don't like it, that's still progress. Now they can cross it off the list and move one step closer to finding what fits. That's how you take those answers from the earlier questions and turn them into real-world clarity, not by guessing, but by testing. The next thing we recommend our kids do is talk to real people who actually do the job now. You can only learn so much from reading job descriptions or watching videos, but when you sit down with someone who's already working in that field, you get a much more honest picture of what it's really like. And you don't need some big formal setup for that. It can be as simple as asking a family friend, a neighbor, or someone from your community who works in a field that your teen's curious about. They can ask questions like, what's a normal day look like for you? What do you actually enjoy about the job? What's the hardest or most stressful part about the job? Another great question would be, if you could go back, would you still choose that same major or career? You'd be surprised at how open people are to sharing this stuff, especially when they know it's helping a young person figure things out. And if you don't have access to somebody working in that career, like I said, hop on YouTube and just search for things like day in the life of a nurse or what it's really like to be an engineer, and just sub in whatever career that your teen is looking to do. There are so many people posting honest looks at their careers. The main idea is to get your teen around real stories and real people early. It's one of the fastest ways to know whether a path feels right or not. And something else we tell our kids all the time is it's completely okay to change your mind. Somewhere along the way, many times from us parents or school career counselors, teens get the idea that they're supposed to pick a major at 18 and stick with it forever. But that's just not how the real world works anymore. Even before AI, most adults changed careers once or twice, sometimes even 3 times. But honestly, with how fast things are shifting now with automation, new technology, and entire industries evolving, I think multiple career changes is going to be the norm going forward. It doesn't mean jobs are disappearing. It just means jobs are changing. The tools people use are changing, and the skills employers need are changing. So it's completely okay if your teen's first choice doesn't end up being their favorite forever choice. That's what we tell our kids. Focus on building skills that can move with you. Things like communication, problem solving, creativity, and leadership, because those will always be valuable no matter which path you end up in. So if your teen picks something and later realizes it's not the right fit for them, that's not failure, that's progress. They've learned more about themselves, and that's the whole point. For this next generation, pivoting isn't something to fear, it's just a part of life. So if your teen doesn't know what they want to major in yet, or whether or not they want to go to college or maybe trade school, don't panic. That's completely normal. The goal right now isn't to have every detail figured out. It's just to start learning what fits, asking some good questions, trying new things, and being open to change. That's how clarity happens. And if you want some tools to help with that, I've got 2 free downloads for you. The first one are the AI prompts that I mentioned earlier. It's the exact ones I used with my own son to help narrow down what careers and college majors might be a good fit and which ones probably aren't. You can download those in the description below, or you can scan the QR code on your screen if viewing from a TV. And the second one is something I recently put together based on research that we've been doing with our own kids. It's called 10 Future-Proof Careers that every parent and teen should know about. It goes over 10 career paths that look really strong over the next decade with high demand, good pay, and low risk of automation. And for each one of those careers, I included a quick breakdown of what the job is, the typical education path, the average starting pay, the median pay, and what top earners make, and even the personality traits that tend to fit best for each career. So I'll include that in the description, or you can scan the QR code. And YouTube thinks that you're going to like this video next.